He is the last man on Earth, but he never dares to go out at night. Every time night falls, he will pull down the curtains, lock the doors and windows, and work on all the entrances and exits. But even so, the man is still holding a gun all the time, and it is inevitable for him to stay in the bathtub all night. 3 years ago, a mysterious virus spread all over the world, causing mutations in humans. It became the lost nightmare at the beginning of the week. Nightmares are afraid of the sun, and they often devour survivors. 3 years later, the survivors are almost invincible. There is only one empty city left. Various wild animals can be seen everywhere. Will is a military virus scientist. When the virus broke out, he sent his wife and daughter on a helicopter as a scientist. He and Wang Kai stayed in New York City to control the situation. Maybe they knew they could never see each other again. Will cried and said goodbye to his family. At this time, the military plane appeared and blew up the bridge. It turns out that from the beginning, the military did not plan to let the infected leave here. And the nightmare is also in chaos. The helicopter he took was blocked. He was killed on the spot because of his own blood. Will became the only human survivor in New York City. The only companion is Wang Kai, who his daughter left before her death. In addition to collecting materials during the day, they also use radio to search for survivors. But 3 years later, Will did not receive a response. He just locked up a sheep. A lion suddenly appeared and took the lead. Looking at the lion's whole family, Will was touched for a moment. In the end, he still held back from pulling the trigger. At this time, the alarm rang. The sun was about to set. He hurried home and covered himself with disinfectant. Then he sealed the exit. Wang Kai spent another night in the laughter. The next day, he came to the lab. Will found that the experiment had a major breakthrough. A dead mouse was injecting Will's antibodies. Now that he's fully recovered, he's overjoyed. So he rewarded himself with a shopping spree. But the fake model was effective. Then he ran to the aircraft carrier and hit the golf club. But at this time, Wang Kai was attracted by the prey. He broke into the nightmare's territory. Will did not dare to act rashly, but in order to save his best friend, he still took the courage to go in. He found Wang Kai smoothly, but he was also found and chased by a group of nightmares. In the chaos, one by one broke through the glass and jumped off the building. One of the nightmares followed. Instead, he was burned by the sun and died in the end. Will seemed to have noticed something, so he set up a trap before sunset. Using his own blood, he finally captured a female nightmare. But when he was about to pack up and leave, the nightmare's leader suddenly appeared. He shouted madly at Will for no reason. He didn't know why. From past research, the nightmare has not only lost his intelligence, but also lost human emotions. But the leader in front of him was obviously not like this. After going back, he injected the female nightmare with virus serum. The result was not smooth. The female nightmare injected with serum died completely. He could only re-inject the virus. The female nightmare regained vitality. But this also announced that his experiment had to start all over again. The next time, he went out to find survivors. In addition, he found a fake person who was supposed to be in the audio shop. He suddenly appeared on the street. Lonely for a long time, Will couldn't accept that there was really a living person. He took up his gun and shot crazily. Then he looked up. The moment he entered the pond in front of him, he seemed to have realized something. But it was already late at night. Will stepped on a trap. He hit the ground hard on his head and fell into a coma. And this trap was exactly the same as what he did yesterday. It was already late at night when he woke up. He cut the rope with a dagger. But when he landed, he was stabbed in the thigh with a dagger. He lost his ability to move. It looked like the sun was getting less and less. Will dragged his body and forgot to go back with him. At this time, the nightmare chief appeared with a few nightmare dogs. When the sun was completely gone, a few nightmare dogs rushed to Will. Will and one of the nightmare dogs were biting each other. After solving these problems, Will was also badly injured. Will picked up Will and went back to the lab. He was injected with semi-finished virus serum. For Will was not a pet. He was his best friend. His daughter sent him to protect him, but a lot of hair came off. His eyes began to change. It means that the serum was not successful. After Will mutated, he could only cry to end his good friend's life. From this moment on, Will became a lonely man, collecting supplies alone, looking for survivors alone. But he still couldn't find a pot to support him to live. Will was desperate. He drove to the nightmare chief at night. He wanted to drag these nightmare dogs to hell together, but there were too many nightmare dogs. One died and there were two left. Soon his car was overturned by a group of nightmare dogs. It was when Will was about to be eaten alive. A purple light suddenly came on, successfully drove the nightmare chief away. In a trance, Will seemed to see a woman. The other party asked him where his house was. Will said it was on Washington 11th. Then he passed out. When he woke up, he found someone bandaging his wound. He also made breakfast for him. It was a mother and son, his daughter Anna and her son Ethan. Anna invited Will to sit down to eat and said she heard Will's radio. That's how he found this place. Then Anna said that there was a survivor camp in Vermont. She hoped Will could go with her. If it was in the past, Will would have agreed without hesitation. But now he no longer believes that someone can survive. He turned over the plate. There was a fierce quarrel with Anna. Realizing that he was the Empress Dowager, Will sat down and apologized sincerely to Anna. Then he took Ethan to his fish pond to play, and Ethan's words made Will know the most important step to complete the blood cleaning. He went back to the lab. He put ice cubes around the moth to reduce the heart rate. Soon the moth appeared. The night was coming. Will locked the door as usual, but he forgot to clean the smell with disinfectant, and tens of thousands of moths were following the smell. Just as they rushed in, at a critical moment, Will detonated the bomb he had prepared in advance. Successfully killed hundreds of moths, but it was just a cup of water. The moth rushed into the house and started to bite Will crazily. In panic, Will raised his gun to shoot. This temporarily drove away the moth. Looking outside, the moth army had launched an attack. The three of them came to the lab, locked the anti-moth glass. This is the moth leader's overbearing catapult. The anti-moth glass was repeatedly hit until the glass broke. Then the leader drew a butterfly on the glass with his hand. Will was delighted because this butterfly pattern also has a female moth. Realizing that he had caught his wife, Will made a difficult decision. He put down his gun, opened the door and pushed the female moth out. Then injected the virus to the female moth, let her regain her lost body. And the leader did not intend to hurt Will. After the fight, he took his wife back to the dark. At the end of the story, Will, who had the virus, and his mother and son went on a difficult path to save humans. In fact, there is another version of this movie. Will did not understand the meaning of the butterfly, so he collected the virus in the female moth's body and gave it to Anna. Anna and her son left the secret passage. Finally, with the virus, they found the survivors' camp. Until then, human civilization has been sustained. Will detonated a grenade in despair. He died with the moths. So here's the question. These two different versions, which one do you like better?